We welcome everybody to Brooklyn, Michigan, to the Michigan International Speedway for race number 11 of the Fuel Sportsman Series Championship race here from the Michigan International Speedway, live on the North American Sim Racing Network. My name is Trey Wright. Set to be a good one here this afternoon. 14 cars ready to take to the high banks of the Michigan International Speedway for 60 laps around this high banked motor speedway. Glad to have everybody on board here for what is certain to be a fantastic race here in Brooklyn, Michigan. My name is Trey Wright. And while the championship might already be decided, we still have a very tight battle for the second place drivers, and one of those drivers fighting for that battle, spinning around on the back straightaway right now. That is the 86 machine of Ike Durbin, one of the three cars racing for this title here, or this runner-up title here in Brooklyn, Michigan. About 10 minutes remaining in happy hour. Everybody trying to get their cars resituated. Vincenzo Focasato, another one of the drivers that is trying to fight for this runner-up title, and Keon Daly making up the third head of that trio here. There is a look at Daly's number 91 Dodge machine as he will come out onto the racetrack. Apollo Hyde has mathematically clinched the championship, so not a useless race by any stretch of the imagination as we try to figure out who will be second, third, and fourth. But nonetheless, in qualifying, to see who qualified on the pole here for the Michigan race. Dunlaprod on the pole with Apollo Hyde on the outside pole. Crystal Bennett, Keith Hughes, Davy Barbarossa, Vincenzo Focasato, Brendan Whitford, Ike Durbin, Rich Roy, Manuel Sanchez, Bill Turner, Keon Daly, and Andrew Estrada. The 13 cars that will be starting here for the 60-lap race at Michigan. Dunlaprod on the pole with a pole time of 37.095 in that number 74 machine. A couple of cars going around here on the pit lane. There's a look at the number 93 machine, Davy Barbarossa, driving Dave Blaney's Amico Pontiac Grand Prix, trying to wiggle that car a little bit as he goes into turn number 1. There's Ike Durbin, the sponsorless number 86 machine, trying to get second place here in the point standings with about 5 minutes remaining here in happy hour. But taking a look here at the Michigan International Speedway, as Durbin goes by, like we said, we got that three-car battle for the top spot. Michigan, it's a very, very fast track. You're going into the corners about 210 or more miles an hour, and these cars do not have restrictor plates here at Michigan. And Goodyear has flown in a little bit tougher of a tire compound than we have seen. Only about a second and a half of tire fall off after about 25 laps. So everybody should be able to make it on potentially only one pit stop, maybe two. 82 machine going around, that is Keith Hughes. Unsponsored Pontiac, rather than unsponsored Honda Accord. There, that 82, Rich Roy coming down the pit lane along with Manu Sanchez. There's a look at Vincenzo Focasato coming into tonight, trying to deal with the three drivers fighting for that second place spot. The drivers that are starting, where everybody is. Focasato, the highest of the three, starting in 6th. Ike Durbin starts right behind him in 8th. Keon Daly, the deepest of the trio, starting in 12th as he tries to put down a couple of hot laps here with about 5 minutes remaining here in happy hour. But it has once again been a great season here so far for the Sportsman Series. We're glad to start a little bit of a partnership here with the Fuel Racing League here on the North American Sim Racing Network. The races will be recorded and will not be streamed live as of right now. Hopefully in the next couple of months we'll try to knock out some kinks, but broadcasting the finale for the Sportsman Series. 10 races ran so far here in 2025, about a complete 11 here in about an hour and a half's time. We'll be ready to go at the Cup level as well. Our first Cup broadcast will be this coming Wednesday. Live from the Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. That is set to be a great one there. One of the last races in the third part of the season for the Fuel Grand National Series. That is, of course, then, and this is now. There's a look at Bill Turner as he'll come onto the pit lane. The 131 machine, Brendan Whitford, will join the field there. No sign of Apollo High just yet as the 3-car has gone around. There's a look at Rich Roy. No stranger to things here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Raced in the offline side of things in the Winston All-American Series. Whitford down the pit lane as everybody trying to get things reset. There's a look at the champion Apollo Hyde. Clinched the championship last week at the Monsoon Motoplex. That number 100 car. Looking a little bit different here this week. Running some decals honoring the late great Larry McClure. Brendan Whitford also making some additions to his racing machine as Manny Sanchez has parked that number 3 right near the access road in turns 1 and 2. Dunlop is coming back into the server here in just a couple of moments. Leaving out of his pit stall once again is the 82 of Keith Hughes. Hyde putting down some laps. Same thing with the 130 machine.
User entered your channel. User left your channel.
Dunlop in the broadcast booth for a brief moment. Glad to see that he is getting back into the swing of things. Prod is the pole sitter for this race, which will be getting started here in about 2 to 3 minutes time, depending on when everybody will be in here. But taking a look at the point standings as they run coming into this race, of course, Apollo Hyde has clinched the championship. Keon Daly currently second in the points. Ike Durbin and Vincenzo Focusato right behind him, and call it a barber pole for where these drivers are starting. Focusato, who is in 4th, will start the highest of the trio. Ike Durbin in the middle, as per usual, and Keon Daly, the deepest, starting in 12th. Nicky Cotley and Blake Warren are not in this race. Dunlop trying to leapfrog both of those drivers. Rich Roy currently 9th in the points, trying to get past Tyler Stallhood. Manny Sanchez trying to get ahead of R.J. Bishop in the point standings. Bill Turner and Christian Bennett trying to get top 15 in the point standings as well. Same thing with Brendan Whitford trying to get a top 20 run. Andrew Estrada, who has only completed 2 races this season. This is his first race since Talladega, where he finished in 7th. Trying to get the job done, is trying to get inside the top 20 in points, taking advantage of the smaller field here. There's that 25 national machine of Estrada. About under a minute to go here in happy hour, and the Focusato destroying his car onto the pit lane. We're going to take another look at what happened there for Focusato here in happy hour, and I think Ike Durbin may have had something to do with Focusato. There's the 86. Maybe sending a little bit of a message early on as Focusato takes out the 93's pit box and the 82, so Keith Hughes might have a word with Ike Durbin after this. Of course, this really doesn't matter. This is just Tonka truck stuff here typically. Is 37 car still on the pit lane. After that, in the 82 of Keith Hughes is in his pit stall, as well as a 93 who's going to overshoot it by just a couple of moments. Dunlop back in the server. Pole sitter for the 60-lap race here at Michigan in the Chester's Family Market machine, one of the best looking cars here in this season for the Fuel Racing League. Definitely has the 90s look to that number 74 Chevrolet Monte Carlo indeed. Whipping it around here in Michigan, getting another look at the Turn 1 grandstand to the famous Michigan Tower. Focus Auto upside down once again. 82 machine of Hughes destroyed a little bit. Top of the board is Apollo Hyde here in Happy Hour. Urban going around to the 86 car as well. And as we get closer to race time, we're going to pause for a couple of moments and we'll go into the drivers' meeting. And then it will be time for race number 11, the season finale here at Michigan.
In God's name.
Hey, I'm going to hell and I live off of dog comedy, so.
All right, here we go.
We got some Justin Tucker disciples here.
Someone fell out. He's back.
They're coming back. Babbitt is coming back. Of course, I'm running the Lyra McClure tribute scheme tonight.
Everybody on the field is here. We're going to send it down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports to kick off the season finale of Season 2 of the Fuel Sportsman Series here at Michigan.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 13 cars roar to life on the back straightaway of the Irish Hills, and we're ready to go racing for the 11th and final time here in the Fuel Sportsman Series. Dunlop Prod won the pole position earlier on in qualifying in the Chester's Family Market number 74 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Starting to his outside is the man who clinched the championship 1 week ago at Monsoon Motoplex, the number 100 machine. That is Apollo Hyde. Crystal Bennett starts in third to the inside of Keith Hughes. That's row number 2. Tavi Barbosa will start to the inside of the 37 of Vincenzo Focusato. Everybody rolling off as the Pontiac Grand Prix pace car will hit the pit area. Dunlop Prod is the control car. 13 cars all in line. Our second largest field this season. LaPrade will get the green flag waving in the Irish Hills air. We're live for the Season 2 finale at Michigan. LaPrade leads the field going on to the back stretch here for the opening time. Bennett will fall back in line to the 18. Somebody did not have a good start right off of the start there. That was the 98 of Bill Turner. The field goes through turn number 3. LaPrade looking for that 6th win of the season. Hyde will fall back to 4th. Bennett is up to 2nd. And here comes that 93 car trying to shut back in line in front of Apollo Hyde. That's the 93 of Davi Barbarossa. 1 lap is completed. We've already got trouble going around. That's the 3 of Sanchez. He is able to gather up and going. And we remain green here. Sanchez spinning around in car number 3. He will fall back to 13th. LaPrade powering that number 74 car down to the low side as we begin lap number 3 here in just a couple of moments. Bennett trying to grab a good run going down the front straightaway. But it's LaPrade who, like we said, has won a lot of races so far. He's got 5 wins so far this season. To see who else is in the field here today. There's a look at Rich Roy in the 29, and right now the battle for second in the points is in Vincenzo Focusato's favor. typically running that number 37 car in the 6th position. We'll see. He fell back a little bit that last time by LaPrade. Goes up to the high side a little bit there in the 74. Bennett looking to try to make a move in that number 84. All the way up on the high side goes the 82, and looking for the crossover. Going through 2 is Bennett. So they go down the back straightaway, single file. Now Bennett trying to peek a little bit down to the inside. Thinks better of it, grabs the toe, going into turn 3 on the back end of the 74. Nobody wanting to make a move just yet. Emmanuel Sanchez trying to pull that 3 car back into this field. There's LaPrade, who continues to lead. He has led all 5 laps so far in this contest. Crystal Bennett will look down to the low side in the 84, looking to make the slide job work there. Crossing over is LaPrade. He gets loose out of 2. What a save there from Don LaPrade. But he is going to be... that is definitely going to cost him dearly as he falls all the way back to 9th. Don LaPrade with arguably his best save of the season. That 74 car was wrecking loose out of turn number 2, and that will give the lead to the 84. Now, how long can Bennett hold on to the lead? He's down on the low side, running in that seam. Javi Barbarossa on the outside, looking to get that move to work. We saw it all throughout practice and happy hour, running that seam all the way on the bottom of this version of Michigan. It is like running on ice skates. Running on that seam is not what you want. We saw that from LaPrade, a fantastic save out of the leader. But now it's Crystal Bennett who leads in the 84, and Apollo Hyde is saying, hey, you know what? I already won the championship. I'm going to try to go for this race win here this afternoon. He's up to 2nd. Exactly where that number 100 car started this race. Again, running that throwback to Larry McClure. Trying to get around this 93 car. They're door-to-door going into turn number 3. Wait for those 2 to make a mistake. Hyde will keep that 100 car planted down on the inside. That's Crystal Bennett who continues to lead. This fight back in here for the runner-up in the point standings, continuing to get spicy. Focusato now up to 5th after LaPrade's near self-spin. LaPrade trying to work his way back up into this battle. Oh, Whitford hard into the outside wall, making evasive maneuvers were LaPrade and Keon Daly. It's the number 91 car trying to get up into this battle. Durbin trying to move down to the low side of Focusato. Focusato will have him cleared off of the corner. Now he tries to move down the low side. Meanwhile, fighting for the race lead. Here comes Barbarossa trying to move to the outside of the 84. They'll be side by side for the race lead. Still Bennett a little bit loose coming off of the corner, but he'll keep it straight. Our 3rd lead change here of the afternoon. It belongs to the 93 of Davey Barbarossa. Now Keith Hughes will go up to 2nd. Bennett stuck a little bit on that outside lane, trying to get the run off of the corner. Couple of cars trailing back in here. That's Andrew Estrada and Bill Turner that have fallen off the pace just a little bit. I believe those 2 may have been caught up in an incident. Right now, the top 9 drivers all within a little bit of a mini pack up in here. Barbarossa goes way up the corner. He's into the outside wall. He is going to lose a lot of momentum. Hughes right on the back end of that Amoco number 93. Trying to get all the way up on the outside lane here is that 93 car. Hyde looking to go high. Barbarossa will shut the door there on Bennett. Now we've got some tandem drafting going into turn number 1. Hughes trying to get around that 93, but Barbarossa not giving anything. Nearly 3 wide up in here for 2nd. Hyde will fall back. He's going to try to play the corner. Gets a little bit loose, and the 84 of Bennett very loose off of turn 2. Not quite as fancy of a save as we saw from Dunlap a couple of laps ago, but Bennett's going to lose a lot of time. And he's going to fall all the way back to 9th, fighting for that spot with Whitford in the 131 car. 3 wide for the race lead. Here's Apollo Hyde to the low side. Barbarossa in the top, and the meat in that sandwich, the 82 there of Hughes. He's trying to hold on to that Honda Accord, trying to power that machine right through the corner. Side by side for the top spot are the 93 and the 82. Side by side for second. Keon Daly able to get around both of his adversaries for that second place spot in the point standings. Hughes way up the racetrack, nearly ran into Barbarossa. Hughes beginning to look a little bit unstable there in that Honda Accord. Barbarossa wiggling that Pontiac. Dead heat at the line in favor of Barbarossa. Now Daly will make it 3 wide for the top spot as we're about towards the midway point in this fuel run. Hughes way up the high side, cut off Apollo Hyde. Hyde will go down low. Daly will fall back to potentially 4th here in the 91. Barbarossa will continue to hold on to this lead, and now Focusato in the outside wall. Trouble for the 37, he will spin around right in front of Rich Roy. Roy was caught up in it in the 29. And the yellow flag will come out here for the first time this afternoon. Vincenzo Focusato caught up in the opening accident of the afternoon, and Rich Roy was an unfortunate passenger in that department. Nothing that any of these drivers could really do as the Pontiac Grand Prix pace car will come out for the opening time today. Caution flag out here on lap number 13, and Vincenzo Focusato was caught up in that accident. Take a look at the replay. You see that 37 car start with him missing it all the way up on the high side, right in the lightning through turns 3 and 4. Try to plant that 37 car back down, nearly clip the 84 of Bennett, and Rich Roy nowhere that 29 car could go. He piles into the 37. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage on both of those race cars, despite the damage, rather the impact that they sustained. But that is a tough break there for Vincenzo Focusato and that Michigan Apples number 37 car, and nothing you could really do about that if you're Rich Roy. A tough break for both of those cats. Following on board with Focusato, and he actually got pinched there by Keon Daly. Didn't see that on the initial replay. Turned that 37 car around, and nowhere that Rich Roy was able to go. Very, very tough break for both of those drivers. So we're under the caution flag for the opening time today, and Apollo Hyde won the race off of the pit lane. Well, we got some time here. We're going to go back and take a look at that replay of Dunlaprod's save. Going to watch this here from the 74. Trying to make the crossover there on Crystal Bennett, and just gets right on the seam. And wrecking loose right into the corner, and a fantastic save out of that 74. Really good job there out of Dunlaprod. Like we said, 5 wins already this season. So we go back to the real time here. Field will likely be getting the 1-to-go signal. We got enough time for one more replay. We're going to go back and see what happened with Emmanuel Sanchez. Yeah, and it looks like, Keon Daly again. So that's twice now Keon Daly has gotten into a driver. And that sent the 3 car spinning through the infield. No caution was called. It was only a single car incident. But Keon Daly now having a couple of drivers against him in that department. And Daly might have to watch his back. That's 2 drivers he has taken out of contention here for this race win. Field got the 1-to-go signal. So we're back here at the Michigan International Speedway. Apollo Hyde with the race lead. Wrapping up our first caution of the afternoon. Everybody is still on track here. All 13 cars still on the racing facility. Apollo Hyde is the leader. Dunlaprod is able to get up to second after the pit stops, and the 93 car is third. That is Davy Barbarossa. Brendan Whitford, who started this race all the way back in 13th, if I'm not mistaken, all the way up to 4th. Andrew Estrada will round out the top 5. Estrada started in 13th. Whitford started in 7th. So it's Estrada who's been the biggest mover of this race so far. Pace car down the pit area. We'll get this race reset, nearing the third of the way mark through this contest. Apollo Hyde will get the green flag, and we're back underway here at Michigan. Really good restart there for Apollo Hyde, as now Dunlaprod will duck down to the low side. Focusato, really good recovery for both him and Rich Roy after that crash on lap number 13, excuse me. Estrada, like we said, up in the top 5, and here we go. It's not a race here on the North American Sim Racing Network without us missing a pass for the race lead, and Davy Barbarossa will go to the top spot around Apollo Hyde. Hyde now back in second, Laprod tucks back in third. Whitford up to 4th, and of the trio fighting for that second place spot in the championship, Focusato has got it. And way up the racetrack went Estrada. He is going to lose a lot of spots. That's right in front of both Durbin and Daly. And Durbin is going to be right behind that number 25 machine going up through the corner. The 2 car bugging out a little bit going through the corner. Contact back in there with the 98 and the 86 as Manny Sanchez has gotten back into the contest here. Apollo Hyde trying to go for position. Same thing with Dunlaprod. We're going to go on board with the number 74 car. Dunlaprod right on the back end of that number 100 machine. Now Apollo Hyde going around on the 100. He is going to take out the 84, the 29. Daly is involved as well. Caution flag back out here at Michigan. And that was the big one, and we saw that live right from the vantage point of Dunlaprod. And the champion of Apollo Hyde going around off of turn number 4. Looks like he caught the seam as well. An unfortunate bystander there for the 84 of Crystal Bennett. Keon Daly was in it. Another accident that Rich Roy has been caught up in as well. We're under caution for the second time this afternoon. Couldn't have scripted that better. That was right in front of Laprod. Barbarossa won the race back to the start-finish line. The pits will be open this time. And we will have pretty much everybody coming down the pit lane here for their second stop of the afternoon. We'll focus on pit stops first, and then we'll watch the replay. We're going to focus with that number 93 car. Barbarossa in the number 93 machine, dominating up at the front. Amico number 93 will go to his pit stall. Oh, Focusato will overshoot his pit box just a little bit. Same thing with the 84 of Crystal Bennett. Dunlaprod also up in here as well. Looks like some repairs being made to the 74, and he'll get out and away first. Laprod will win the race off the pit lane over the number 93 machine. 4 tires going all the way around. And Dunlaprod back up front here in that Chester's Family Market number 74 machine. We're going to take a look and see what happened with that number 100 car. You're going to see Apollo Hyde looking for the race lead, and yeah, he caught the seam right on the inside of 4. Spins that number 100 car around. Brandon Whitford, I can't believe he wasn't caught up in that. The 84 got contact with a 29, and it was pretty much just on from there. I don't believe anybody hit Apollo Hyde, funny enough. Going through the grass was Bill Turner. Bennett was going around. Daly went around as well. That is the third incident that 91 car has been involved. It's the first that he did not cause. We'll get another couple looks at this accident here. See exactly what happened. I think it may have just been a case of ARCA brakes. This time we'll go with the spectator here in real time. Catching the seam, getting very low, going through the corner, and yeah, that was just a check up there from Bennett. Nowhere for Rich Roy to go. Screaming down the pit lane there was the 82 of Hughes. Everybody should be able to continue this race here, but tough break for the regular season champion there, Apollo Hyde. The field is back here for caution number 2 of the afternoon. Everybody is off of the pit lane as Rich Roy back into the service area trying to repair that number 29 car. Taking a look at the chat. Yeah, that was pretty much an Xfinity moment there. Unfortunately for the entire field. As Rich Roy will rejoin the field, that'll be getting the 1 to go signal either this time by or the next time by. Keith Hughes running the banking there in the 82. Not sure if there is any sort of issue there with that 82 car. It's running all the way on the low side. There might be a mechanical issue with him. He's going to trundle that car all the way down the pit lane. He is very, very, very slow there. Field has gotten the 1 to go signal, however. Hughes able to get that 82 car back up to snuff. He will stop in his pit stall and he'll get some repairs there in that Honda Accord. But this is the top 5 as they run. Dunlop, the pole sitter, is first. The 93 of Davi Barbarossa is second. Brennan Whitford is third. We've got Mike Durbin in fourth, the highest of the trio, trying to fight for this runner-up spot here in the championship. Manny Sanchez running in fifth. Vincenzo Focasato is sixth. Bill Turner is seventh. Keon Daly is eighth. In ninth is Andrew Estrada, who's down the low side. Apollo Hyde is in 10th. Crystal Bennett will be in 11th. Rich Roy will be 12th. And Keith Hughes will round out the 13-car field. As Estrada will get back in line there in the number 25 machine. Barbosa trying to go down the low side there in the 74. Not sure what he's doing. He'll tuck back in line of that number 93 Amoco Ultimate machine. Pace car back down the pit area here. Approaching the midway point through this race. Laprade is the control car. He will see the green flag waving in the air. We'll begin lap number 25 here at Michigan for the Sportsman finale. Everybody still in this contest. Peeking it down to the low side there is Keith Hughes. Trying to get by is the 93, looking for the crossover move off of the back straightaway. Barbosa trying to get past Laprade. Laprade, a stalwart of the IMRC from a couple of years ago, and overall a stalwart of online content, will succeed that position there to the 93 of Barbosa. Barbosa will get the top spot away from Laprade. Whitford continues to run in position number 3. Ike Durbin right now up to second in the point standings in that number 86 car. Oh, and into the outside wall hard. Not sure who that was. That was Bill Turner. That just went completely dead straight into the turn 1 wall, and he has got a ton of passenger side damage in that Red Bull Camry. No caution on the speedway, as it was only a single car incident. We remain green. Now Whitford will knock the wall off of turn 4. He'll keep it straight. Sanchez trying to get past the stricken 131 car. LaPrade going to the outside of the 93 of Barbosa. Sanchez looking for second. Remember, on lap number 2, he spun that good wrench number 3 car around. So we'll put that Monte Carlo up to second. LaPrade tucking back in line. We'll see where that Chester's Family Market 74 will go down to the low side. He'll stay up high for now. Sanchez now trying to draw a bead on the number 93, going through the corner. A little bit of warping there from Barbosa. He's able to retain the top spot for now. All these cars separated by about 5 seconds as it looks like Andrew Estrada also losing touch with this lead pack up here. And it's now about 10 cars strong. We approach the midway point through tonight's race at Michigan. 3 cars underneath of a washcloth right now going into turn number 3. Really good run so far here for this 93 of Davi Barbosa. Hasn't had quite the season that he would have liked. In fact, I believe this is his first ever start here, is at least for this season, for 2025. I don't see anything here on the monitor or on the scoring pylon, so I believe that this is Barbosa's first ever start here in the Sportsman Series. At least, I don't know about first ever, but his first start of the season. He's running a pretty good race so far. Sanchez right behind him in the 3. Oh, some contact in the back there. Somebody got into the wall. Not sure who that was. Now the fight is on. Barbosa will tuck back up high, will block Sanchez up on the high lane. LaPrade now in a battle for third with Brandon Whitford. Brandon Whitford will tuck back and forth, and now everybody in a line going down the back straightaway. 10 cars. Make that 11 cars up in here. That is 10 cars up in here. Is someone going around? That's Keon Daly in the 91. Daly, in his 4th accident of the afternoon, will lazily slide that AT&T machine around. No caution. We remain green. That is such a tough break for Keon Daly, who got a little bit loose going through the corner. Sail that number 91 machine around, and he's going to hope and pray for a caution to come out here in the next couple of laps. We are past the midway point through this contest. Take a full field rundown. Barbosa leading the way in car number 93. Dun LaPrade is second. Manny Sanchez in third for the 3 car. Brandon Perez is 4th. Ike Durbin is 5th. Rounding out the top 6 back there is Apollo Hyde, who gets a little bit squirrely off of the corner. 7th is Crystal Bennett. 8th is Keith Hughes. 9th is Vincenzo Focasato. Rounding out the top 10 is Rich Roy. Bill Turner runs 11th. 12th is Keon Daly. And rounding out the full field is Andrew Estrada, running in 13th in the 25 car. And that will be the full field rundown of all 13 cars. Keon Daly will take his number 91 car down into the pit lane here on lap number 33 of 60. LaPrade will move down to the low side in the 74. Sanchez will make a dive bomb down low. He's going to try to dump some air on that 74 car going through the corner. They'll be side by side going into 3 and 4. Gotta be careful not to catch that seam as Bennett high through the corner. He'll get the slingshot off of turn number 4 to get the run. These guys continue to battle for the penultimate position. This is all happening behind that 93 machine. Barbosa a little bit lower on the line this time. He's going to move up the racetrack, blocks the 74. Real good job of letting off the gas there from Dunn onto the back straightaway, and that was nearly an accident. Unfortunately, it was avoided. Now LaPrade stuck on the outside lane. Daly is back on the racetrack in the 91 machine. This fight for the top spot has been fantastic, with LaPrade not giving up yet. LaPrade going to start his entry up high. He's going to try to do the crossover move on Barbosa going through the corner. Whitford high up the track. Sanchez very tight going through the corner. Nearly 4 wide, making some evasive maneuvers. There was Hughes in the 82. Goodness gracious, chaos all over the place. LaPrade side by side with a 93. That's for the top spot. Focusato now trying to get around this 84 car to get up to Ike Durbin. Dead heat right at the start-finish line. As LaPrade still trying to fight for this top spot. A little bit of a wiggle there out of that 93. Davi able to hold on. That might be what Dunn needs. He's going to get the run off of the corner. Sanchez tucks back in line on the outside. That's the battle for 4th back in there. Barbosa being real aggressive on the inside of that 93. He's going to move up the racetrack. They're wheel to wheel off of 4. Another little bit of a warping wiggle there from the Amoco Pontiac. That time at the line, it's in favor of LaPrade. Now the 2 leaders making contact, and another fantastic save out of Dunn LaPrade. LaPrade, that's the 2nd time today that he has been wrecking loose off of a corner. And that is the 2nd fantastic save that Checkers Family Market has been able to make. And he's going to refight for this race lead once again. LaPrade now looking for the crossover on Barbosa. He's going to have a ledge going down the front straightaway. Going to take that 74 car all the way down to the apron. Not able to lead a lap that time by, but he will have the inside lane. Oh, does he clip the seam? He clips the apron just a little bit. Shoots up the racetrack just a tad. Nearly some contact with the 93, and here comes Whitford and Hughes tailing behind this 74. Now, how much of everybody's stuff is everybody going to be using is going to be the million-dollar question, as Whitford whipping the outside lane, running that Larson line up at the top. Barbosa continues to lead in that number 93. Continue to really wiggle that car. Right in front of LaPrade he goes. LaPrade ducks back down to the low side, closing in on 21 laps to go this next time by. Hyde will make his way up inside the top 5. Focusato moves down low. Hughes trying to get around the 93 as LaPrade will go to the point. Meanwhile, the fight for the points will reach up and into the outside wall. That's the 3 of Sanchez, who will keep it straight, and we remain green as Vincenzo Focusato will now take the top spot here for the battle for 2nd in the point standings, but it's LaPrade who leads with 21 to go. And when do these drivers hit the pit lane? I believe they can do about, guys, all those guys nearly got on the outside wall. I believe these guys can do about 30 laps on a single stop. So we should see these guys potentially coming down the pit lane here in the next 5-10 laps or so. Now Barbosa, his car getting very, very tight on this long run. Got up into the outside wall. And Amoco number 93 car starting to go away a little bit. He continues to wiggle that Pontiac going through the corner, and he is going to fall back a lot there in that 93 machine. Now Keith Hughes is up to 2nd in that Honda Accord. LaPrade, Hughes, Whitford, your podium. Hyde, Focusato, your top 5. When does everybody hit the pit lane? Hyde way up the racetrack in the 100 car. Focusato trying to crack inside the top 4. And he'll take that a spot away from the champion running that Kodak Advantix machine, who lose 2 positions going to the corner that time by. Now he's going to try to gain both of them back, running very low. Focusato warping a tad. He's able to keep it straight as Durbin nearly got ran into by the 93 car, who was a little bit loose coming out of the corner. this is where the action will reach a little bit of a lull here, with everybody's rubber beginning to wear out. Who is going to come down the pit lane first is going to be the $1 million question. Now, Keon Daly, I don't believe he should be able to make it on fuel. Bill Turner, he has gotten the outside wall a couple more times. The entire right-hand side of that Red Bull Camry is caved in. Estrada is not going to be able to make it. I believe everybody besides Daly is going to have to pit for fuel at least once. And here we go, right on cue. Dunlapron will come down the pit lane. Same thing with the 100 of Hyde. And this will be the money stop. 2 cars coming down the pit lane. Oh, I think Estrada wanted to come down this time around, but he was running a little bit too high going through the corner, and Dunlapron will surrender the race lead in favor of the 82. Now Hughes will be pitting this lap. Same thing with Whitford and Focusato. I believe everybody will be coming down here on lap number 44, and they indeed will. A little bit loose coming through. Everybody just trying to back it down as fast as they can. Sanchez will stay out an extra lap. So 74 and then 100 will come off of the pit lane here. They have made their final stops with 16 laps to go, focusing with the 82. Right on the tape there is Hughes. He'll be getting 4 tires. So everybody pitting right in frame of one another. There is Focusato. Focusato and Durbin, that's going to be the battle here off of the pit lane. Hughes is off, but where does Laprade come in? Laprade off of the corner. Rich Roy, I think he might try to lead a lap here. Laprade at the stripe. Everybody trying to come off of the racetrack. This is going to be the battle right here for the race lead. Laprade's got the rubber and he's got the momentum. Barbosa off of the pit lane will be passed here by Laprade. And how does Laprade get around Keith Hughes? Hughes is going to have a big distance there over Laprade, so the overcut worked. Hyde now up to 3rd. Now the 25 of Estrada will come in. Same thing with the 98 of Bill Turner. Turner will go down a lap to their leaders. And Rich Roy is actually staying out here. Sanchez down the pit lane. The 84 of Crystal Bennett just coming off now. And I believe that massive overcut there from Rich Roy was just trying to lead a couple of laps there. Nothing else really than that, but this is going to be the battle for this top spot. So last time around, trailing behind second that last time around was Dunlapron, but now that 82 car is up to full song. Keith Hughes looking to try to get the job done here in that 82 car. We'll see what the interval is this time around between Hughes and Laprade. And now the gap now down to 3/4 of a second. Don't see Keith Hughes' name here on the points pylon either. I believe this might be the first race that Keith Hughes has been running here as well. Hyde down to the low side. This is the battle for second making up in here. And Laprade catching in a ton on the back end of that 82. This time around, he's closed the gap all the way down to 1/2 of a second. Closed in by 1/4 of a second, and Laprade's number 74 car is beginning to dial in. 11 laps to go this next time around. The battle up in here for second in the points between the 37 and the 86. Focusato is in his favor. Trying to get around this 98 car is Focusato. Whoa, that was a massive warp there for Vincenzo, but he's able to keep it going. This time around, looks like we're going to have 4 cars under a blanket for this top spot. Leprod falling back by a little bit. Actually, he closed in a little bit more there. Closed in another 0.2 of a second to the 82 of Hughes. But remember, Hughes does have fresher rubber than Leprod, but Leprod has been the dominant car all afternoon so far. Has been a little bit squirrely a couple of times, but he's been able to make a couple of really good saves in that Monte Carlo. He's going to be right on the back end of this 82 car coming around the corner. 10 laps to go in the Sportsman finale from Michigan. Leprod running in second. May fall into the clutches of both Hyde and Barbosa. It's going to allow that 82 of Hughes to pull away just a little bit. Hughes running up on that Larson line, coming off of the second turn. Misses apex by just a little bit. Again, he's going to have that wide entry going through the corner, and he's running that middle line of that unsponsored 82. Could have swore somebody was going around Leprod trying to run that Accord tire tracks. 9 to go for Hughes. Clinching the championship last week at the Monsoon Motoplex. Trying to put that 100 Pontiac into victory lane another time here this season. Running that Larry McClure, vintage, that Kodak Larry McClure honoring decals, honoring the remembrance of Larry McClure, who passed away. Gap now 0.2 of a second between Leprod and Keith Hughes, with 8 laps to go here from Michigan. I don't believe they'll be catching up to Estrada anytime soon. This battle up in here for second between Focusato and Ike Durbin is going to be one of the 2 battles that we're going to watch here. And here comes Leprod, a wide stroke down to the low side. Trying to catch up to that 82 by any means necessary. The gap may have stagnated by about 0.18 of a second with 7 to go. Hyde beginning to fall back a little bit squirrely out of the corner goes Hughes. Leprod is he's gonna need only 1 mistake out of the driver of this 82 car. And he'll be home free trying to win this race from the pole. He's got 5 wins this season already. He's gonna have a real good run off of the corner. He's right on the back end of the 82. 6 laps to go from Michigan. Leprod trying to make his move. He's gonna poke down to the low side of Keith. He was trying to run his line on the middle. Leprod down low. He's going to make a slide job move. Tucks back in line behind that 82. This is the battle for the win. Meanwhile, back in here, the 37 and the 86 continue to be nose to tail. Hyde now continuing to fall back, but these two continuing to go at it. 5, count them, 5 laps to go here from Michigan. Leprod closing the gap there by a little bit. He's still 17 of a second off, and he's going to have a good run through the corner. It is a cat and mouse game between these 2 drivers. Hughes continuing to run that center high line. Running dead center there was Leprod. 4 to go at the line. These 2 drivers dragging as they come down the front straightaway. 8 miles remaining here in Michigan, and now retiring from the race. Some sort of issue with the 93 of Davi Barbosa. Crystal Bennett has also retired from the race. Here we go. Apollo High has fallen back to a second behind these two leaders. He is going to wait for these two together and these two will try to duke it out. LaPrade still on the back end of this 82 car. 3 laps to go. Keith Hughes not giving up. LaPrade still in his tire tracks. LaPrade a little bit wider going through the corner that time around. Again, Hughes does have the fresher rubber than LaPrade. He is able to make those moves just a little bit better. Again, it's only 1 lap difference, so it's not the biggest in the world. But with 2 laps to go, any advantage that you can get here, that's what you're going to be looking for. Sticks high in the air. 4 miles remain from Michigan. Andrew Estrada running up in front of these guys. Keon Daly coming back down the pit lane. Focusato continues to lead over Ike Durbin for the runner-up in the point standings. Apollo Hyde still in 3rd. Now LaPrade looking up high. 3 miles to go here from Michigan. LaPrade trying to make his move there on the 82. They will have Keon Daly in the way. Daly trying to move down to the low side. White flag in the air. One more time around the Michigan International Speedway for Keith Hughes. He moves up high. LaPrade right behind him. Daly up in the outside wall in front of the leaders. He's going to move back down in front of these guys. Clean racetrack behind these guys, but up in front, what does Keon Daly do? Half a lap away is Keith Hughes. LaPrade is going to have one final chance going through the corner. He's going to get down to the low side. Making the block there is Hughes, a little bit squirrely, looking for the crossover, not going to be there in time. Off the final corner. Checkered flag is in the air, and Keith Hughes will win here at Michigan. Battle for second of the points will go to Vincenzo Focusato. And Keith Hughes, in his first start of the season, will get the job done here at the Michigan International Speedway. Vincenzo Focusato will be second in the point standings after this afternoon. Apollo Hyde is, of course, the champion. Third will be Ike Durbin. Fourth will likely be the 91 of Keon Daly. So all the drivers will congratulate the number 82 of Keith Hughes. A job well done, and the overcut indeed worked. As Keith Hughes wins here this afternoon at the Michigan International Speedway. And he is going to burn it down right here at the start-finish line. Keith Hughes, the number 82 unsponsored Honda Accord, will get the job done, and he is going to blow out both of those tires right here in front of the fans, giving the fans here in Brooklyn, Michigan a smoke show. It's certainly what they've deserved as he clips Andrew Estrada as well. He's going to back that 82 car right into the pit lane. And he's going to continue his burnout here in victory lane. We're going to take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we're going to have interviews with all 3 of our drivers here. But Keith Hughes will burn it down, and he'll be going to victory lane here. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. Back here at the Michigan International Speedway, we have got all 3 of our top 3 drivers here. And we'll start off with the winner, driving number 82 car to victory lane, Keith Hughes. Keith, congratulations on getting the job done here in what I believe is your first start this season based on the points bracket on the Google Drive.
I'm not totally sure. We'll say it is.
Well, if you are, you're batting 1,000, so starting off by playing the strategy at the end of this race here. Just what was really going through your mind going into that final set of pit stops with about 13 laps to go when you saw Dunleprod coming down the pit lane? Were you thinking, okay, I'm going to try to go out one lap ahead of him? What is the mindset there?
Well, what time I got to the front, because I had to start at the end of the longest line for going down pit road, missing that one wreck. That was unfortunate. So I had to battle back up to the front. And when Dunn decided to pit, he called it really late. So I couldn't really follow him in because he called it as we were coming out of 3 into 4. So I just watched him go, and I was like, I guess I'll pit next time. I'll have one lap, fresher tires. We'll see how it goes. And I ended up having a great pit stop and came out way ahead. So I know they were going to catch me because I was in the draft. So I spent those 4 or 5 laps as they were catching me, just really saving, keeping the tires cold and just waiting for they got there. Then when they got there, I started picking it up a little bit, and it ended up working out. I enjoyed it. It was a fun race.
It definitely was, and it was definitely fun to call that battle between you and Dunn right in the final couple of laps. And he got right on the back bumper of you in those final 5 laps. What was really the mindset going, especially on that white flag lap when you guys were just trying to cut each other off and all the way to the start-finish line? What was the process there?
I just knew I had to hold my racing line. I couldn't slip up any or he'd take advantage. So I was just trying to hit my marks, and was able to do it and get it to the finish line first tonight.
Yeah, and a job well done. Final question here for you, Keith. Just how does it feel to win here at this level? A track that you said, hey, you love that you race well at this track, but you kind of hate it. Michigan, it's a fun track for the fans. It's a heck of a track for the drivers, but how does it feel here to win?
It feels good. I always enjoy taste the victory.
Definitely does. That was Keith Hughes, driver of the number 82 machine, going to Gatorade Victory Lane here. Keith, congratulations. Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
So one of the men of the hour who finished third in this race, Apollo Hyde, who clinched the championship last week and was just out here racing for fun. You end up finishing this race in third. And Apollo, we got to go back to that second caution of the afternoon where you unfortunately, looks like you hit the seam going in the bottom of the corner of turn 4. What really just happened there to bring out the second caution?
Yeah, so what ended up happening there is that in order to run the very bottom of the racetrack at this, you need to get all 4 tires underneath the bottom seam. There's a little seam in the pavement there, and you got to get all 4 tires underneath that in order to keep the car stable. We saw numerous cars get caught up on that seam, and that was just an instance where my car got tight in the middle of the corner. I gassed it up when I absolutely shouldn't have. I was just trying to make a pass on the inside, and yeah, it just didn't stick. It's really unfortunate.
And then being able to recover all the way up to third. It looked like you were going to be in that battle for the win in the late stages, but without 10 laps to go, it seems like your car was falling off. Did you lose a little bit of rubber on that run, or were you trying to back off and let both Keith and Dunn try to battle this race out, maybe make some contact and try to get the win there?
Yeah, I don't think that it was necessarily tire wear that was taking me out of it. I was looking at I was watching my tire wear pretty closely. I don't think it was that. It's just we got into the wall pretty good there coming off of turn 4, and my car just wasn't where it needed to be.
Really, just Apollo, talk us through this entire season so far, coming into this race and being able to lock up the championship early. Just walk us through everything.
Of course, yeah. So I definitely took advantage of the unique points system that we have here, where we erase the 2 worst finishes on the season off the record, and my 2 worst finishes happen to be both DNFs at super speedway races. So that makes me look a lot better because I was definitely outside the top 10 for both of them. But other than that, my basic train of mind was just, as long as I just keep putting one foot in front of the other. I know I'm not typically the most dominant driver out there, but as long as I finish roughly the same position every single race, second, third, keep it up with second, third, maybe put a win here or there, and you're going to be towards the top of points. So that's just what I try to do. Just take each race one race at a time, and if the cards fall in a position where I can win a race, then we'll take it.
Well, that's all we got. Thank you so much, Apollo Hyde, for coming on, and congratulations for winning the championship here, officially claiming that title here today and getting the trophy.
Yes, thank you very much. And we'll be back in roughly 1 month time. I think it's 5 weeks. And we'll be back on August 1st for season 3 of Sportsman.
Heck yeah. But that'll wrap it up here from the Michigan International Speedway. Congratulations once again to Keith Hughes for winning race number 11 of season number 2 here at the Michigan International Speedway for the second season of competition for the Fuel Sportsman Series here on the NASRN. Like Apollo Hyde said, we'll be back in about 5 weeks' time for season number 3 kicking off here on the North American Sim Racing Network, and Apollo Hyde will look to take home the championship once again here in season 3. This intercast is copyrighted by NASRN Productions for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this intercast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the North American Sim Racing Network Productions is prohibited. On behalf of everybody here on the North American Sim Racing Network and from the Fuel Racing League, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great 5 weeks. We'll see you at the track.